far side of the sky. The first thing that I'm gonna do is spread my wings and fly. I'm gonna land beside the light, run my fingers through his mane. Or I might find out what it's like to ride a drop of rain. Yeah, when I get where I'm going, there'll be only happy tears. I will shed the sins and struggles I have carried all these years, and I'll leave my heart wide open. I will love and have no fear. Yeah, when I get where I'm going, don't cry for me down here. I'm gonna walk with my granddad, and he'll match me step for step. And I'll tell him how I've missed him every minute since he left. And then I'll hug his neck. Yeah, when I get where I'm going, there'll be only happy tears. I will shed the sins and struggles I have carried all these years, and I leave my heart wide open. I will love and have no fear. Yeah, when I get where I'm going, don't cry for me down here. So much pain, so much darkness in this world we stumble through. All these questions I can't answer, so much work to do. But when I get where I'm going, and I see my Maker's face, I'll stand forever in the light of His amazing grace. Yeah, when I get where I'm going, there'll be only happy tears. Okay, will that work? And you have to be supposed. Are you seeing me now? Good evening, everyone. Good evening, family, friends, well-wishers. Welcome and thank you all for being here today as we come together to honor and remember Hank Gregoire. I did not have the privilege of knowing Hanif, but I know his father, Ambassador Gregoire, for most of my professional life as a broadcaster, and he, in his various capacities throughout the years as a forestry officer, secretary to the cabinet, and other various positions he held over the years. So when he called me to ask me for my services as the MC, Master of Ceremonies for this event, I had no choice but to say yes. And I'm happy to be here in this capacity. Today we gather not only to mourn the loss of a great soul, but to celebrate the life he lived, a life filled with love, joy, and unforgettable memories. Hanif touched the lives of many, as we see here today. So many of you all are gathered here in unique ways, and we want to share these stories this evening. I'm so excited to hear some of the stories that will be shared here tonight. To begin our event this evening, I call on Hank Gregoire to lead us in prayer. Welcome, Hank. Make her feel welcome, Hank Gregoire. You could bless this event. Thank you.
Thank you too. You're welcome. Good evening, everyone. Firstly, and could everybody stand so we could show just a moment of silence in support of Hanif this evening. Thank you. You could sit. Oh, we are going to pray, so we understand. Sorry. Heavenly Father, we want to thank you for tonight. We want to thank you for today. We want to thank you for the crowd that is there. We want to thank you for the purpose here. We also want to thank you, Lord Jesus, for Hanif. Thank you, Lord, for these years that he spent with us, with everybody here. These loving memories that we have of him. We want to thank you, Lord, for that. As we go through this evening, we ask you, Lord Jesus, to please grant us with good weather. Grant us this peace among us, which is what Hanif loved, having peace and sharing peace and unity. We pray for this peace and unity among each one of us here tonight. Father God, we just want to say thank you. Thank you again. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Thank you. Please be seated. Thank you for your words of prayer. And I'm sorry, but I did not introduce myself. My name is Kewana Fontaine Wilson, and I'll be your master of ceremonies this evening. We now call on the fiance of Hank Gregoire, Joyanne Ailey, for the welcome remarks. Please make her feel welcome. Joyanne.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It is with the warmest of heart that I welcome you all to tonight's occasion. We gather this evening to observe the very meaningful contribution our beloved Hank Gregoire has made in our lives. We give a voice to those who knew him best, those hearts he touched, and the memories that will live, that will forever stand. This evening, we gather to honor and remember our beloved Hanif, a remarkable soul who touched our lives in ways words can scarcely capture. Hanif was my soulmate, my best friend, and my confidant. He was a son, a brother, a godfather, a friend, a colleague, a staff footballer, a licensed land surveyor, a project manager, and a young leader in the communities of Point Michel, Louvière, Newtown, and Castle Comfort. I'd like to bid a special welcome to PS Lisa Valmont, as well as PS Gloria Joseph, all our online viewers on both Emonews and DBS Radio, both here and abroad, my family and friends overseas, to Russell, Dylan, Chelsea in Jamaica, Amina in Canada, Marilla and Alize, my cousins, and also a very, very special welcome to Jamal, Romel, and Daniel, who flew all the way from Barbados to be here with us this evening. Thank you so much for being here. They studied with Hanif in UWI, at UWI in Trinidad. Also, thank you for celebrating, all of you, thank you for celebrating Hanif's life with us. I will leave you with this. According to the great Bob Marley, the greatness of a man is not in how much wealth he acquires, but in his integrity and his ability to affect those around him positively. Tonight we extend the invitation to many who Hanif touched throughout his life, his work, his talents, affection, and commitment. May we all continue to keep his legacy alive with love and cherish, as we cherish each other forever. Once again, thank you for being here with us.
Thank you, Joyanne. And we are now at the point of the program where we invite anyone with stories or memories of Hanif. The first speaker will be Quentin Gregoire. Is Quentin Gregoire here? So we now call on, yes. Make him feel welcome, Quentin Gregoire, to share or to speak. Good evening.
Good evening, everybody. And thank you so much for coming out to support the family in sharing and experiencing these memories of Hanif. Thank you so much. So earlier this afternoon, my dad called me and told me that I hope you're getting ready for tonight, and I hope you have a speech ready. So I told him, but I thought this evening was for family, relatives, friends to all come and share their memories about Hanif, for us to sit back and listen to everybody. He told me, no, we, the family, needs to set the tone. So I'm here this evening to set the tone. Yes, Felix. So there is a speech that I actually wrote and read up in the viewing ceremony we had for Hanif in Brooklyn. So I will use this to set the tone. Hanif, my brother, we were three brothers, Quentin, Wendell, and Hanif. Hanif, my youngest brother, godfather to many godchildren, son of Felix and Hank Gregoire, fiance to sister Janelle, a leader to his peers, captain to many football teams, including his Dutch United football team. And I said his football team because he actually founded the Dutch United football team and carried the team to a league championship in 2015. He also captained the Poetic Michel Football Club and played many years for the well-known Harlem Football Club. Football was a big part of my brother Hanif's life, and he was brilliant at it. He also represented the Dominican national team at various levels. I am and have always been proud of my brother Hanif. He had a big heart. Hanif did a lot for many people. There is a story, true story, of Hanif treating all the mothers of his godchildren to a Mother's Day dinner hosted in the community hall in Poetic Michel. Just imagine everybody wondering, but Hanif that walk in there with all those mothers, Hanif was strong-willed. He stood for what he believed. Do you know, our late grandmother, Granny Nurse from Scott said, offered Hanif $1,000 to cut his locks. He had locks before. Just to cut his locks back in 2008. And Hanif refused the offer because he did not believe it was the right time to cut his hair. Folks, $1,000. Wendell, my other brother, and I were shocked, but he was respected for his decision. And he was stylish, folks. He loved fruits. Oh, he loved fruits. As a little boy, I remember my mother, Charmaine, early morning, upset, asking, who ate my sugar apple? Boys, who ate my sugar apple? I confidently said, not me. When they were smiling, watching Hanif, with his face dirty with sugar apple. Because he forgot to wash it off. He forgot to wash off the evidence. Responding, Mommy, that was your sugar apple now. Shortly before he was diagnosed with cancer, I remember watching my brother Hanif on TV, on YouTube, expressing himself intelligently in the Youth House of Assembly. I was so proud of my brother Hanif. He had a lot of ambition and plans for his future. But God had a different plan for him. And I respected. So there is a verse from the book of Wisdom I would like to share with you all. And I think it pertains to Hanif. For the age, the just man, though he die early, shall be at rest. For the age that he is honorable comes not with the passing of time, nor can it be measured in terms of years. And I believe this verse pertains to my brother Hanif. I will always remember you, my brother Hanif, and I will always be proud of you, my brother, and I will always love you, my brother. Rest in peace, Brooks.
All right, thank you, big bro, Quentin Gregoire. And do you think he set the tone this evening? He did? Yeah, I think you did. Well done. We now call on another brother of Hanif, and his name is Wendell Gregoire. Let's bid him welcome, Mr. Wendell Gregoire. Is Wendell here? No? Mr. Gregoire, is Wendell here? No? Okay, so we'll move on, yes. The next speaker is Don Leogal, representing the Harlem Sports Club. Don Leogal, please come forward. Okay, here comes Don. All right. Good evening, Don. Representing football.
Yep.
Okay, take it away.
Good evening, everybody. Firstly, let me just extend my sympathies again to Mr. and Mrs. Gregoire and the rest of the family. On behalf of myself and the executive and members, players, supporters of the Harlem United Sports Club. My interaction with Hanif came at a very early age. As a coach in the Newtown Juvenile Football Academy, Hanif, as a youngster, entered the Newtown Juvenile Football Academy to hone his skills in football, which, as his brother said just a while ago, that he excelled in. He proceeded to represent the academy at various competitions. From there, he proceeded to become a member of the Harlem United Sports Club. And at the Harlem United Sports Club, he played in all the various divisions, elevating to being captain of the premier team during that time. I also remember back in the early 2000s that the Newtown Juvenile Football Academy had the first ever international youth soccer tournament, where we had under 20 teams from England, Canada, the United States, and from Dominica took part in a competition on the Newtown Savannah that the Newtown Juvenile, together with the DAS Foundation, organized, which was a very successful one. And Hanif, as one of the members of that team, was the leader, the captain of that team. And that team eventually went on to be the champions of that tournament. So his leadership skills was exhibited at a very early age. Also, Hanif also got a number of awards from the Harlem Sports Club while representing the sports club in the various levels of the Dominica Football Association League. And I must say that he brought a good style of leadership and football potential to the Harlem Sports Club. He also, before he left, was a member of the Harlem Executive, so he just did not play, but he was also part of the management team at one time. Soon after that, his community, Paul Michel, called onto him, and he told me, Coach, I think I want to go back to Paul Michel to assist in bringing back Paul Michel football, in the leadership role in Paul Michel football. And he did that, and eventually went to Paul Michel and became the captain of the Paul Michel football team and one of the leaders. He also too formed his own football team, which his brother mentioned, the Dutch United Football Team, okay, which participated in the Harlem Football League. They were a formidable team during the time in the league, and as his brother mentioned, he won the championship there. We have at Harlem very great memories of Hanif, and we would have hoped that he would have stayed his entire career with us, but he had other plans I think that worked out for him and for the community of Paul Michel. So on behalf of the sports club, I would just like to say to the Gregoire family, thank you for giving us Hanif for the time that you spent with us. And we hope that after tonight you can feel more comforted with the words of praise that is given here tonight on his behalf. And I hope that the good Lord will take care of him wherever he is. And hope that the family will continue to live with his memories and have good memories of him. Thanks.
Thank you, Don Lugo, representing the Harlem United Sports Football Club. So far we have heard of, many ways Hanif has impacted our lives here as a son, a fiance, a brother, a very talented footballer. And the list continues. We now go over to welcome to the stage another speaker, Glenn Etienne, representing the Dominica Football Association. Is Glenn here? Glenn Etienne? Okay, so I guess Glenn is not with us this evening, so we move on. Oh, he's coming. All right, come on down, Glenn. Make him feel welcome, Glenn Etienne, as he comes up to share his story or memory of Hanif Gregoire. Oh, there you are.
Good evening, everyone. Let me first of all extend my condolences to the families of Hanif, Mr. and Mrs. Gregoire, the brothers. I don't think they have any sisters, but he has a brother. He has brothers. Well, I was coming here and I kind of heard this discussion based on football, and I will continue that trend because I know that Hanif was really, his mind, his soul, his body was in football. That I can tell us about. Every time we had a discussion, football will take precedence over it. So I'm even nervous a bit. Why? Because of the kind of setting I see tonight at the first time. But nevertheless, Hanif was a good footballer. And when I tell you a good footballer, in the sense that what he demonstrated on the pitch and off the pitch was something that the young footballers of today should emulate. He have gone a bit soon, someone might say, but the God knows what's best in terms of when we have to depart. But in terms of his legacy, I think he left a legacy for us that we can chew on, something that we should not forget. And one thing I must say about him in terms of not just the football part of playing the game, but he was very concerned about this playing field we are on. And I must say, maybe it's fitting that this vigil is done here this evening. Because I can recall a couple months ago, that there was some development in this playing field. And Hanif was present there, and he called me. And he told me, boy, you need to get yourself to the playing field right now. And I came. And hence the reason why we have this kind of development in terms of the wall on this side and the extension of this ground. And there's plenty more to be done, because Me and him, we actually walked the playing field and the lands, and he actually, from a technical standpoint, we discussed and he gave you a lot of ideas, and we decided to take it on board. So I think the footballers of Point Michel should be happy for whatever he has done in terms of the playing aspect and the technical aspect of this ground. I want to leave here by saying that the good God knows what's best. I think Hanif is in a better place because nobody knows what God wants for us. He's in a better place. And I just want to tell the family that, yeah, he's no longer here with us, but don't worry. I know you're worried, but don't worry, because the God knows what's best, and he even knows your plan better than you. So with these few little words, I feel for the family. It's heartbreaking, but we just have to hold on. And if I can be there to support you all, I will do that. Thank you, and have a good night.
Thank you, Mr. Glenn Etienne. And so far we've heard about Hanif's relationship with his fellow football players and his role and impact on the Point Michel Football Club. We now call on a representative from the club to share with us some stories of Hanif and memories. Do we have anybody representing the Point Michel Football Club? Excuse me? Ezekiel? Oh, Erskel, excuse me. Erskel here? H. Gregoire. H. Gregoire. Go ahead. All right, so H. Pokopawi. No, she's not in? Okay. And memory of Hanif.
Thank you. Kiwana, Philip Circle. I must say my acquaintance with the Gregoire family goes back to my first 4 years at the Dominica Grammar School when, strange enough, Felix used to be dropping Charmaine to work in the morning at Josephine Gabriel. And one of the interesting things first formers used to look out for is when Felix would drop Charmaine to school, he would give a little peck on the lips. And we were always excited to look at that. Fast forward to my years at the grammar school as head boy of the Dominica Grammar School, Charmaine working at Coca-Cola again. She was always very pleasant, and so that's how I was introduced to the Gregoire family. But then, while at grammar school, one year I had to debate with SMA, against SMA. I think the topic was the conservation of Dominica's natural resources is more important than the exploitation of those resources. And so I had to go to someone for research, and I was sent to the forestry division. Mr. Maxime at the time was the senior forestry officer, and He assisted me in putting my notes together. And then he passed me on to a senior forestry officer to assist me further. And that person was Felix Gregoire. So Felix Gregoire and David Max and Mr. Maxime helped me with my notes to debate against the SME. One of the debaters was somebody sitting at the front there by the name of Cecil Joseph. And we beat SMA hands down. Cecil and a gang of SMA students, Tony Chambers, Ian Blanchard, and us, were heckling us. But then I found out that after arguing with Cecil, that Cecil Joseph and I was born on the same day, the same month, at the same time, on the same year. That's just some strange coincidence. So then we became brothers. Fast forward, however, to life, and I became a principal, and my boss again in the Ministry of Education was Felix Gregoire as permanent secretary in the Ministry of Education. And then when I assumed principalship of the Dominican Grammar School, I met for the first time, oh no, I forget to say that when I was a teenager, I sang at their wedding at the Point Michel Catholic Church as part of the St. Alphonsus Choir. So destiny has a way of revealing people into your life. You may not be able to count the dots, but you can certainly connect the stones. And so, again, fast forward, as I said, Felix Gregoire became my boss as permanent secretary in the Ministry of Education. And when I went to the grammar school, one of the first teachers I had the opportunity to bring into the grammar school was Wendell Gregoire, sitting at the front there. To be part of who I met. He was there when I came in, and again, so I encountered, I encountered another Gregoire. And then later on, 2 years after, I had the opportunity of interviewing another person, not knowing that that person I was interviewing, when I saw the name, but I didn't know at that time it was another Gregoire by the name of Wendell Gregoire. And so when Wendell came into grammar school, I said, well, I think I know all the Gregoires. He said, no, there's one you don't know, and that was Hank Gregoire. But then time went on, I left grammar school and I moved on. And lo and behold, I'm getting a call one day to be part of something called the Caribbean Performing Arts Federation. And at the first meeting, someone is coming up to me and said, I am Hanif Gregoire, son of Philip Gregoire. So then that completed the circle. So I knew the mother, I knew the father, I knew Quentin, I knew Wendell, and now I met Hanif. But now to Hanif, what does one have to say about Hanif? We heard that he was a footballer. We heard that he was a community man. We heard that he was a leader. But the most I can say about him is my experience with him as his secretary when he was executive director of Caribbean Performing Arts Federation. And there are many stories I could tell. But not to be too long, what I can say as the takeaway from my experience with Hanif is that I found him to be a very serious young man. I found him to be a very organized young man. But I want to share a unique story of our experience as thing. One day, well, Hanif had the way of communicating in a very exact way, anybody who knew him. And he would often send emails to me to send to the group that we shall do that tomorrow. And it came to the point once when we met at the Fort Young Hotel. And it came to the point when the entire executive erupted against Hanif. Everybody erupted. They said, let me tell you something. Listen, we're doing this voluntary. You know, the way you're talking to us, you're bossing us around. And so I sat quiet. I said nothing because as the secretary, you had to support the CEO. Now, when I went home that night, I'm getting a call. Hey, I'm disappointed in you, man. I asked, why are you disappointed in me? He said, but I have a lot of respect for you and I expect you to support me. You allow them people to just come at me. I said, so I listened to him and he spoke his mind. So I said, okay, Hanif, I understand what you are saying, but they are correct. He said, how are they correct? I said, can I give you some coaching as to what to say? So maybe you should think of saying, what do you think about before you raise a suggestion? Or how would you feel if, or would you like me to, as introductory statements? And so henceforth, when we went to the next meeting, Hanif brought the agenda, and Hanif began the meeting, what do you think of? And then when we were discussing, at the end of the discussion, we were planning a regional conference, and then at the end of the conference, he said, how do you people feel about that? And then he looked at me and he said, how am I doing? And so, I mean, that gave me an appreciation of the kind of person that Hanif was. And you know, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree, because I had a very good relationship with Felix when he was permanent secretary. We shared a very close relationship, and I can dare say that both Quentin and Wendell were very close associates of mine. And I was happy to work along with Hanif, and not only that, the level of support that he gave me, I felt in his company, I often felt important. I often felt valued. I often felt appreciated. And when I heard of his sickness, I felt sad, because just before that, he had just presented to the youth parliament. And I called him and I said, Hanif, I have a suggestion for you. He said, what is it? I said, I think you should go into politics. And he said, really? You think so? So I told him, well, I live in Goodwill, but I vote in Calibishi. But I'm from Mont Bruce, and I know you're from Castle Comfort. So maybe you should go up to Newtown, and that will make me move my vote from Calibishi to Newtown. He said, very good idea. And that was what it was. And so that's the level of relationship that we shared. That's the level of camaraderie that we shared whenever we went out on a social gathering. Hanif had just as he was very serious on one side, he had a very good sense of humor. And he was able to balance any company that he was in. He was able to let people feel important. He was able to let people feel part of a bigger picture. And he was also very productive. I'd like to say in closing that I think we have lost a treasure. I think we have lost a very bright promise. I think we have lost a legend in many respects. And I think we have lost a legendary human being and a very perfect gentleman. So what can I leave further in saying tonight? I'd like to say to the young men here tonight that Hanif was a purpose-driven person. So if there's one thing you can take away from that, is to be purposely driven. Hanif was a very disciplined person, especially to the footballers who are here tonight. And so perhaps you need to think of being very disciplined young men as sportsmen on the football field. Hanif was a very organized person. And to all of us, maybe the call would be for us to think of how we can be people who can organize well and to let people think of what better they can become of themselves. And lastly, Hanif was a very humble person, a very giving person, a very caring person, and a very loving person. So perhaps the message that he'd want to leave to us tonight is, let us be caring of each other. Let us be loving of each other. Let us be embracing of each other. And let us continue to be generous to each other. Thank you very much. Felix, Charmaine, Wendell, Pentel, God bless you.
Thank you, Mr. Joseph. A very colorful memory of Hank Gregoire. Thank you for your very thought-provoking stories there of Hanif. Thank you so much. All right, we now welcome the Honorable Dennis Charles Pemberton, the parliamentary representative for the Point Michel constituency. Let her feel welcome as she comes up to share a tribute and story of her constituent, Hanif Gregoire. Good evening, Honorable.
Good evening, everyone. I did not know if I had the courage to speak tonight, so I actually recorded what I wanted to say, but Joyanne told me it will be viewed on Friday, so she caught me. So I have to share a few words. But thanks to Ambassador Gregoire, who I actually supposed to be comforting. I saw him on Friday, and as soon as I saw him, I could not hold back the tears. And he was comforting me. He said, Denise, Hanif would not want us to cry, but smile. So I hope I smile this evening as I share a few words about Hanif. The hardest thing about life is burying someone that you love. It's always very difficult for me. Anyone who knows me, and Abby can attest to that, to attend vigils, funerals, or go to the hospital because I bear the pain of others. I actually feel, if your hand is broken, I actually feel it. So it's very difficult for me to see others in pain. And Hanif I knew, or I saw as a baby. So he's like family to me. Hanif was truly one with a remarkable soul, humble, full of life, full of love. It is as if he had devised a way to make a space in his heart for everyone he met, kept no hard feelings, and did his best to get along with everyone. He had a passion for people, for sports, for community development. And I was so proud of him when I heard him debate at the youth parliament. He did so well. And he was one person you could call upon anytime to assist or to serve. As a PAL rep, your greatest joy is to see the growth and development of your people. You always want your constituents to succeed. And there's a sense of fulfillment, especially when the youth, particularly young men, pursue their dreams, overcome obstacles, and are headed for greatness. But greatness is not only defined by achievement of personal goals. It is also by how we impact the lives of the people that we meet. So though Hanif's life was short on earth, he has left an indelible mark on all of us. I thank God Hanif was surrounded by love, a family who cared and supported him. Charmaine, Ambassador, and the entire Blaise and Gregoire family, you did your best. Having family support and good friends are so important in life. I want to thank God for giving his family strength, giving his fiance joy and strength, and giving the community strength to come out this evening and celebrate the life of Hanif. Hanif, you are an amazing soul, an excellent role model for young men and your peers. We shall dearly miss you, but you have run your race and run it well. And I know that the Lord is waiting for you with his arms open to give you your crown of glory. I remember having a dream about Hanif a few months ago. I think it was in June or July. And I had a vision. In that dream, we were having a procession right here leading to the playing field. And we were on buses, and we were all dressed in white with something written on the shirt, but I can't remember what it was. But I remember leading that procession was JJ. And I said, whoa, what is JJ doing in the dream? So I sent a message to Ambassador to make sure that Hanif was okay. But as all of you have said, God had other plans for him. But he has definitely left a mark, and he will always be remembered by the people of Point Michel and the entire Soufrière constituency. So sincere sympathies to the Blaise and Gregoire family. Hanif, you may be gone, but you shall never be forgotten. Your legacy of love, persistence, and interest in others shall continue in the hearts of all of us and in all that we do. One love. Peace.
All right, so Hanif approves. Showers of blessings. Thank you so much, Honorable Charles. Yes, that's right. A little distracting, this shower coming down. The next in line to share with us a story or a memory of Hanif, we now call on a cousin of Hanif, Hank Gregoire. Hank, please come forward. Okay, bonsoir.
Bonsoir. Hi, good evening, everybody, and welcome. And it's lovely to see everyone here. And if any of us know Hanif well, this is the sort of thing he loves. He loves to bring people together. He loves to see people happy. He loves to see people come together and enjoy life. So I'm Hank Gregoire. I'm from Grande. The first time I met Hanif was, I was an athlete before. I also played netball, and we were called up for inter-school, and of course Hanif was there for football, I was there for athletics and netball. And of course, again, if you know Hanif, when Hanif here, Gregoire, before he leaves, he had to know who that Gregoire was and where that Gregoire come from, because that is his family. And so we went to St. Vincent for inter-school that day, so wherever Hanif was, you would have seen me there. And so that is Hanif. And after that, of course, we kept in contact, but then we went to UE together in Trinidad, and that's where we became really, really, really close. And then I came back home, and I would say probably every other weekend I was at Charmaine and Felix home for the weekend, because Hanif had to say that I had to come out Grand Bay and come down and spend the weekend with him. And so I became the sister. So it has the three brothers, and I became the sister. I was Daddy Felix, Mommy Charmaine. And so we became so close. I'll give you a little example. So we went for our graduation in Trinidad. I remember very clearly, we were in the airport in Dominica. And we were walking, my mom was right next to us. And then Hanif just shouted, "You know what I mean, Nikki?" So we were like, what is wrong with the two of you? Huh? You all don't talk to each other, and then all you know exactly what each other is saying. When we arrived in Trinidad, she could die. "You know what I mean, Nikki?" I tell, and if you know Hanif's voice when he says that. And then if I do something or I say something Hanif doesn't like, but Nikki, you're not serious. You're not serious. And he was a very straightforward person. He was very goal-driven, very organized, and he had a lot of love for the people of Point Michel and the people of Newtown. So ever so often he would have this little cookout at his home, bring persons together. And so with that, in honoring him, as we just say, when God was giving things, that person take everything. When God was giving positivity, Hanif take all of it. Everything Hanif took it with a positive bone. Our last conversation we had before he left us, we stayed probably talking over 2 hours on the phone. So we would start off, you know, how we feeling, how everything going, and then of course we'd go. If you know Hanif, he's I don't know how to call it. He's a very deep thinker. He thinks so deeply and so strategically on things. And we would have such lovely conversations. And then in the end of that conversation, he said to me, "Nikki, I know you're afraid. Don't be afraid." And that was his last words to me. He said, "Don't be afraid. Don't be scared for him. Just he's being strong. And he know I am scared, and he's there, you know." And so what I would like us to do in honoring him, we know he loves the positivity. We know he loves to bring people together. And of course, for us to achieve things in life, togetherness, collaboration is something very, very important. And so with that, I want us to keep that going, keep in contact with others, be together and be positive and be driven to be the best of yourself and the best that you can be. If there is anything we can do for him, that is one thing we can do for him. Be the best of ourselves, because he did want that for each and every one of us here tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Nicola Gregoire. I remember telling Mr. Ambassador Gregoire, but I don't know Hanif. How am I going to, do this as the MC, not knowing the individual? And he told me, don't worry. Once you, come to the event, you will feel the personality. But just one look at Hanif from the pictures I've seen, I could tell he was a very humble young man. And so far, I'm very impressed with what I'm hearing so far about Hanif. To address us this evening is the father of Hanif Gregoire, Ambassador Felix Gregoire. Make him feel welcome, please.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening. I tried to write a speech for tonight, and I had great difficulty writing a speech for tonight. And then, to make it worse, I saw the pictures on the screen earlier on, and I got very emotional. So bear with me tonight. I'll do my best. And if you'll guide me, I'm sure, because Hanif is always there to help. And I'm sure he's going to guide me. It's a very difficult moment for all of us. My wife, who shared the prayer, and the MC told me, why didn't you tell me it was Hanif's mother was saying the prayer? And I said, I thought you knew. But most people would know that Charmaine Gregoire would be Hanif's mother. So it's a rough time for us. We hear about burying your loved ones, burying your children. All these experiences for me and for others who have gone that way before. But let us look at a few things. First of all, we don't know everything. And you better believe that. We do not know everything. Only one person knows everything, that's God. He knows everything. Some of us feel we know everything, but think again, because we don't know everything. Hanif came to me once, and Hanif said, Daddy, I'm helping the Bishop Malze, to survey all the church properties on the island. Of course, you've heard about his sports. He's also a qualified surveyor and other things. And he said, but you know what Brother Miles asked me? How old I was. And I told Brother Miles I'm 32 years old. And his response, the bishop's response was, Jesus Christ died at 32 years old. That was what Hanif told me. I didn't say anything, we left it at that. But he didn't die at 32, he died at 36. And my niece, my sister lived in London, died in London. Her niece, her daughter, only daughter she had, died at 36. Same age as Hanif. And Hanif died exactly half my age. So you can guess my age. I'm 72 years old. He died at 36, half my age. What does that mean? I don't know. Jesus knows, but I don't know what that means. But these are things that we should take note of, even if we don't understand them. Now, Hanif was born in 1987. Up to that point, when he was born, I'd seen Quentin born. I was in the delivery room for Quentin, and I was there for Wendell as well. And then there was Hanif coming faster. They were supposed to be 2 years apart, but Hanif came before everybody. He came quickly. And I was due to travel to Rome in December of that year. And he was scheduled to be born while I was in Rome. I was going on official business. And Hank came 2 weeks before he was due to ensure that I was at the delivery. So I saw all my sons born, and that was good for my wife because I'm sure she was happy to see me at the delivery. I know many men are afraid to go to see the delivery, and many men who have gone have fainted. But it's something that you should consider, those men, aspiring young men, to go and support your wife and your child at birth. So Hanif came 2 weeks before, and that has been the trend of Hanif, coming earlier or doing things fast. There are a few things I can tell you that will reinforce what you've seen and what you've heard. And I like to tell stories, so I'm going to tell you a few stories. Maria hit us in 2017. Now, prior to Maria, Hanif had registered to go to college in the United Kingdom to do a degree in project management. Hanif registered, got accepted. He got sponsorship from the government of Dominica, and I'd like to thank Prime Minister Skerrit for providing the funding for Hanif. And all was set for him to travel to the UK. And Maria hit. So you know what happened when Maria hit, everything was destroyed. Anyway, Hanif said, Daddy, Mommy, should I go? And we said, yes, you should. He said, but I'd like to stay back because I need to help. And we said, we'll be okay. I think Quentin had just got married to Lenisha maybe a year before, and he moved to Point Michel. And Wendell was in Morocco studying. So Hanif was the one who took the brunt of Maria with us. And he wanted to stay to help. We said, no, you should go. You should go. So Hanif left Dominica on a helicopter from the Windsor back on a helicopter, thanks to the Venezuelan government. And Dr. Henderson who assisted us, Vincent Henderson, who assisted in the arrangements. He went to St. Lucia by helicopter. He slept in St. Lucia. And the following day, he went to Barbados to get a student visa to go to the United Kingdom. And when he went to the embassy, he found out that he could not get the visa in Barbados because that was the arrangement that contractors were coming in to do the interviews, not the embassy staff. And I tried everything I could with my friends, ambassador friends, and whoever, and nothing could work for him in Barbados. So he found out he could get the visa in Jamaica. So he bought a ticket, he went to Jamaica. And he got to Jamaica, he had friends in Barbados. Some of them are here, you'll hear from them later. And he went to Jamaica, he has friends in Jamaica, and he got the visa in Jamaica. And from Jamaica, he went to London. He got there maybe a month late, because by all that time had elapsed and he was late. And when he called me, he said, Daddy, I'm in the UK. I said, honey, you already passed your test. You must pass the project management course, because what you did, not many people could do that. And I'm saying that because sometimes we don't understand the challenges that people face and the extra mile you have to go to, or the extra mile you need to put into your effort. It's not good to say you're going to give up. You have to go the extra mile. And that is what Hanif did to get to the UK. And I knew he would pass the course because of that drive and that determination that he showed in going there. Another example, another story again, Don referred to it. Don said that Hanif left Harlem and went to play for Point Michel. Now, it sounded very simple. It wasn't that simple. because it was a very hard decision that Hanif had to make. Hanif had to leave Harlem Sports Club and transfer to play for Point Michel. So Hanif had to get a transfer from Harlem to go to play for Point Michel. And Hanif, very strategic, said, Daddy, you have to go and speak to Don, you know. So Hanif sent me to talk to Don to get the transfer for him to go to Point Michel. And that happened. So in going to Point Michel, Hanif had to play in Division 2. He was in the Premier League playing for Harlem. To play, he had to go in Division 2 because that's where Point Michel was. But he went there to elevate Point Michel from Division 2 to Premier League. And he did it. Point Michel went up to the Premier League. The point I'd like to make there is Point Michel and Harlem, there's that rivalry between Point Michel and Harlem. Competition is good. There's no question about that. Competition in sport is good. But rivalry is not good. So when Point Michel would play a team, Harlem would support Point Michel. When Harlem would play a team, Point Michel would support Harlem. But when Harlem and Point Michel would play, rivalry would get into it. And there are people here who have been a casualty of the rivalry. I can mention one gentleman, may not mind, young Carlisle John Baptist has been a casualty of the rivalry between Harlem and Point Michel, right here, when he was a referee. So that rivalry, we have to get rid of it because it is not helping. But Hanif is showing us that he could leave Harlem, get demoted to Division 2 to bring Point Michel up, and so that we can have that kind of unity and that kind of, level playing field that we need. So I'm saying that because we need to look at those things. And while I'm saying that, while I was in New York, Dominica was blazing internationally in terms of sports. Thierry Lafont won gold medal. Alec Atanaz and Calvin Hodge playing for West Indies and doing very well. We were winning other competitions as well. And I remember telling Prime Minister Skerritt, that's all you're in sports. That's all you're in sports. Now, I don't want to speak too much about those performances because a lot has been said and more will be said because these athletes are going to excel. They're going to bring recognition to Dominica. And there are a lot of blessings we're going to get from what is happening with our sportsmen and sportswomen. A lot of blessings. And we must appreciate those things. We must not take these things for granted. We must appreciate them because a lot of blessings will come. We have to look for the blessings that are going to come. I know there are people who are afraid of blessings, and there are people who want to bring down blessings. But in my opinion, blessings come from God. And anybody who's trying to turn around the blessings, fighting against blessings, anybody doing that is fighting God. Trust me, you're fighting God. Blessings are going to come to our country, and we must appreciate, we must uplift, and we must run with those blessings and not try to pretend they don't exist or to destroy them. I really think that we should go beyond trying to defeat what is good. Now, to say a few things about Hanif in terms of his sickness. Hanif was diagnosed in 2022, May, and he went up to New York, and thanks to the Peltier family for opening the doors for him in New York so that he could get his treatment. And he was given 2 to 4 months to live. It's May 2022. My wife, myself, the Peltiers with him. The doctor said, Mr. Gregoire, I'm not God, but 2 to 4 months. He'll live 2 to 4 months. And I was shocked when I heard that. And more shocked because Hanif heard. And I always know that when you get bad news like that, you protect the patient. So when I realized Hanif heard, I said, Hanif, what do you think? And he said, Daddy, I'm going to take it one day at a time. And Hanif remained there for 2 years plus, 2 years and 4 months. And that's God's work. Now, during his sickness, a lot of people prayed. If I have to mention names, I'll never end. A lot of people prayed for Hanif. Not only family members and religious people, a lot of people prayed. But all I can tell you, your prayers were not in vain, because God gave him 2 years. 2 years for us to be with him. Because even if he was in New York, he was corresponding with his friends, advising them. And one thing I won't forget in his last days, when he was in serious pain, he was always caring for people. And I used to think to myself, how can he be in such pain and care about this one and that one when he is in such pain? But that's what he did. He cared. He cared. While he was in serious pain, he cared. And all I can ask God is, whatever plan you have for him, I know you have good plans for him. I'm asking you to let him be an angel to us, his family, his community, his country, and persons in the region and internationally. Because yes, you have plans for him, but we also need a piece of Hanif as well, because we need his support. With the example he has set, the motivation, the inspiration. Hanif did 2 operations in New York, one on his colon, he had colon cancer that went to his liver, one on his liver. And then when he did the second operation, the team of doctors, when they met the family, said, Hanif was an inspiration to us. I was not brave enough to ask them how, because sometimes you just leave things alone. But they said he was an inspiration to them, a team of doctors, experts in their field. And as I said, I just didn't have the energy to ask, courage to ask them, why do you say that? But they know what they were saying. So I'm just asking the good Lord, who has been there all along, to continue to be around, because there's so much pain in this world. There's a lot of pain in this world. When you think of what is happening, not only in Dominica, but internationally, I'm saying that because that was Hanif was. Hanif wasn't just about himself. Hanif was about others. And when I see what is happening in certain areas of the world, how many people are dying in one day, that tells you the pain and suffering that is around. And I think we can do something. We can do our own part, play our own part. Sometimes the little we do can make a difference. Each of us, the little we do, help our neighbors, help our friends, our colleagues. At work, let us treat each other fairly at work. Let us be honest at work. Let us not go to work for the sake of collecting a salary end of the month and doing nothing. That is not right. Let us help each other at work. There's so much hatred and envy. I'm sorry I'm saying that. I don't think I guess God is asking me to say that. I didn't really plan that speech. There's so much hatred, there's so much envy, so much greed, so much bad-mindedness on social media, things said about people that are not true. Fake news, they call that. Damaging people's character, hurting people. When you say something about one person, that person has parents, that person has siblings, that person has a family. You don't care about that. You just figure you'll say something, and people are saying, we're saying that because you're not correcting us. You're not telling us, so we are saying it. How can you just say a thing that you cannot prove and hurt people and pretend that you're doing the right thing because you're not getting information? That is wrong. People are hurt, too much hatred. And I'm so happy that we have people from, we have the Bajans here, but Russell from Jamaica came to New York to see Hanif a few times. I was there the last time he came. And you could see the concern on Russell's face. I didn't know Russell. I mean, I've heard of Russell because he would talk about his friends. One of the good things about our children, they always tell us about their friends, so we know who their friends are, even if we have met them. So I knew of Russell, but I never met Russell. And Russell came, and Russell was so concerned about Hanif. You could see it, he was worrying. And I'm saying that to say that, you know, we have friends here, over there, and it's one community, And I just want to leave you with those few words, you know, just to ask you to be more tolerant, man. Let us be more tolerant of each other. Let us remove that hatred. Let us love each other. Hanif loved people. He loved people. And I am going to try my best to do some of the things Hanif used to do. For example, I'm going to laugh twice as hard. He had a big laugh. He got it from me, you know, but I'm going to laugh for myself and for him. And Hanif had a hug. When Hanif hugs you, you feel important. He got that from me as well. So I have to hug for myself and for Hanif. So those of you who don't like tight hugs, stay far, because double hug you're gonna get. I see some of my friends watching me. So these are the things. They are small things, but they are very important things. And there are other things that you would want me to do, but I don't think I have the energy. I think Quentin and Wendell will have to do those things, because I don't think I have the energy to do some of those things. For example, I cannot play football again. So that's all. So there are things that I personally would want to do based on my interaction with Hanif. And I thank the Lord for the time he gave me to spend with him while he was sick. My wife and myself and Janelle and others spent a lot of time with Hanif. We were always there with Hanif. And I thank God for that, to spend so much time with him. And then one thing he left me with, not me alone, my wife Shamin and Janelle and Quentin and Wendell. Hanif says, Daddy, Mommy, pay attention. Pay attention. Listen to what people are saying, but watch what they are doing and pay attention. Sometimes we take things for granted, or we see a thing, we let it pass. He's saying, no, pay attention to what is happening. That will make a difference. Hanif always took care of himself. When you think of Hanif getting sick in the house, you're asking yourself, but how come Hanif is the one who got sick? Every morning, lemon, he's squeezing his lemon in his water. He doesn't eat this, he doesn't eat that. He eats vegetables. And he's so conscious about his health. Very conscious. And he wants the young people, the young footballers, Hanif wants you to take care of your body. He says to eat well and drink well. Not everything to eat, not everything to drink. And he also told me to tell you, be careful what you eat, where you eat, and who you take things from. That's a message he's passing. Be careful what you eat, where you eat it, and who you take it from. That's a message he gave. I didn't question him. There are some things we don't question each other. And I must say that Hanif died with all his faculties intact. Hanif could think, discuss brilliantly. And we never discussed death with Hanif, never. So up to now, we have problems as to where this is, where that is, what you would want us to do, and so on. Because we never discussed death with Hanif. Never. We always remain positive. And he had a lot of challenges, medically and otherwise. We always try to look at the positive side. So if the doctor would say something that we figure is a little negative, he himself would say, well, but look at it that way. It's a good thing that they didn't do it, the operation now, because if they had done it then, whatever. So he was always looking at the positive side of things. And the only thing Hanif said on reflection that I figure he was giving us a message was the night before he died. He said, Daddy, I'm ready to go home. And I said, but where's home? And he said, no, he didn't answer. So I said, but Hanif, we all agreed, but because my wife, Janelle, Quentin came afterwards, we were up with him, and we had taken the decision that we were all going home in August. We had planned that we'd all go. No matter what happened, we'd all go home in August. And I said, but honey, if we already agreed to go home, we are going to Castle Comfort. And he watched me and he said, yes, Castle Comfort. That was it. I never challenged him, he never argued with me. We agreed it's Castle Comfort. But it wasn't going to Castle Comfort. Hanif knew exactly where he was going. And that's the only thing Hanif said that on reflection, I can say that he gave us a signal. Other than that, there was absolutely nothing. But I must say that he was so considerate that he helped us. We were not a burden. He wasn't a burden. He was not a burden to us at all. It was a pleasure being with him. He was not. Hanif could do everything for himself. Everything for himself. He was never a burden to any of us. And right now, although I got emotional when I saw the pictures, but I bounced back, and then I think the speeches that reinforced me to the point where I realized that God did the best thing for him, that he no longer in pain, and with everything that happened, I think he is with God. Definitely with God. Definitely with God. I have to fend for myself, but he is with God. And I'm very happy for that. And I would like to thank you for coming. I'd like to thank you. And as I said, I cannot mention names. If I have to mention names, we'll be here till tomorrow. So, but we appreciate all those persons who prayed for him. There were novenas. There were all kinds of prayer meetings in the day, in the night. There were all kinds of meetings, prayers for Hanif. And I'm telling you, those prayers were not in vain, that he's in a better place today. So thank you very much for listening. And I will leave the message with you. You can do something to make the world better. No matter what how small it is, you can do it, and I would advise you to please do it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ambassador Gregoire, for that. I think Hanif, got his strength from you, and of course from his mom as well, and the rest of the family. Thank you for that. We now call on the chairperson for the Port Michel Village Council, Inka Williams, to address us here this evening. Is Inka Williams here? Miss Williams, yeah, make her feel welcome as she shares stories or tribute to Hanif Gregoire. Good evening. I'm sorry, Miss Williams, you have to adjust the microphone for her.
Yes, that's right. All right. Thank you. Yes, thank you. Good evening, everyone. Welcome as we gather here to celebrate the life of Hanif Obi Gregoire. Hanif, the son of Charmaine and Felix Gregoire, left us far too soon at the age of 36. Relatives, friends, and villagers of Point Michel, we are all gathered here today to celebrate a life that was vibrant, impactful, and filled with passion. As his brothers, Quentin and Wendell, would often say, Hanif was not only a remarkable brother, he was also a beacon of positivity. Allow me to briefly speak on various aspects of Hanif's life, and so I will begin with sports. Hanif's love for football was evident in many membership of several esteemed clubs, including the Dutch United Football, Point Michel Football Club, and Haarlem Sports Club. His commitment to the game extended beyond club play. He proudly represented the national junior and senior football teams. His athletic prowess was matched only by his sportsmanship, inspiring teammates and opponents alike with his determination on the field. We move on to his professional journey. As a valued staff of the Ministry of Housing and Public Works, Hanif exemplified professionalism and integrity, something his mom and dad spoke of proudly so very often. His contributions to public service reflected his desire to contribute a meaningful difference in the lives of others, ensuring that everyone had access to essential resources and support. A leader in the community, we all appreciated the role Hanif played in ensuring that many saw his vision and understood his mission. He was deeply involved in civil engagement. He served as a member of the Youth Parliament, where he advocated selflessly for the youth. His involvement with the Rosa South Constituency Association showcased his commitment to fostering growth and development in his neighborhood. Hanif believed in the power of community and worked tirelessly to uplift those around him. A melodic soul, Hanif had a passion for music, all genres of music. His active participation resonated through his engagements in the Dominican Music Association. He understood that music is a universal language capable of bridging gaps and bringing people together. I am sure that his love for music did not only enrich his life, but also allowed him to enjoy it with those fortunate enough to have witnessed his musical journey. A legacy of positivity. Hanif was an optimist. His legacy is one of positivity. He had such an infectious smile and laugh that echoed cheerfully. His ability to connect with people from all over walks of life made him a loved and cherished son, friend, mentor, fiance, and leader. As president of the Soufriere Constituency Association, I ask that we remember Hank Gregoire as the selfless, loving, and caring individual that he was. Accept our heartfelt sympathies on the passing of your loved one. May the good Lord continue to strengthen you all during this difficult time. To Mr. and Mrs. Gregoire, Wendell, Quentin, Janelle, and the entire family, rest assured that Hanif's loving and selfless nature has secured a magnitude of support from all over. Hanif's passion for sports, his love for music, and respect for people continues to shine through. May he rest in peace. Hanif Obi Gregoire. Thank you.
Thank you. I now have to readjust my microphone. Thank you, Chairperson of the Point Michel Village Council, Inka Williams. At this time, we would like to welcome Abia Richards. Abia, yes. Make her feel welcome. She's a cousin of Hanif. All right. Welcome.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Hanif's cousin, as she said, but I really think he was my brother. Nikki said she was his sister, but I think I claimed that thing first. Andy Sharman is my godmother, Uncle Felix is my godfather, and from the time we were young, they considered me to be the daughter they never had, so that's it. I'm Hanif's sister in spirit. I wanted to do this tonight because everybody knows sometimes I get quite emotional, especially because of death and everything. But I know Hanif would have wanted me to speak tonight, so I decided that he would give me the strength to do it, and I went ahead and wrote something. I wrote it like I was speaking to him, so it's like a letter to him. And I realized that I probably missed out a lot of stuff I wanted to say, but it was getting me emotional, so I just kept it to what I felt was most important. So here we go. Dear Hanif, I have started writing this tribute several times, but every time I start, I get emotional. I still cannot wrap my brain and emotions around you being gone. That I will never hear your voice again in person, and that I will never get one of your hugs. You promised me a hug again, Anu. Those famous hugs will be missed, but that's okay. You can give them to Mommy for me. The only good thought only good thought is that you all are there in heaven, laughing, smiling, and giving each other hugs. I remember when you were so proud to write your Auntie JJ's eulogy. You wrote it so eloquently and beautiful. You were only sad that you didn't get to read it and that many didn't get to see it. But I am so thankful that you did it, and she was always so proud of you. I will miss you dearly, my Hanu. You were one of my biggest comforts. Your whole being was a joy from the day you were born. You had so much energy, even as a baby and a small child. A few headfirst dives from the cradle caught mid-air. Some had stumbles and burst lips because you could run rather than walk. I remember having to tie you with my school tie tied to the rocking chair by Dada, just so I could get my homework done when I was left to babysit you for some time.
but nothing could keep you down. You dreamt big and always had a plan for success. Though you were young, the younger one, you always had great advice. I go back to listen to your voice notes just to hear your voice. I wish I had recorded our conversations over the phone while you were fighting this battle, because you gave me some great advice. You were always positive and most times comforted me during those talks rather than I comforting you. The family knows when you were born, I claimed Wendell as my own. I was 7 and decided that everyone would love the littlest baby, so I'm going to put all my love into Wendell because he was just 1 year old and you had all the attention. But what you did was claim all my heart too. That big smile and head full of dark curls. You were the cutest little thing. I see all the pictures of that I gave to Janelle to put up that mommy kept in the album. You had your special spot. I learned to change nappies, the cloth ones with the big pins, when you were a baby. And you didn't like to hear me say that I changed you as a baby, but I did. That cute little baby turned into a handsome young man who turned heads and would always be proud to say, that's my cousin. And yes, he does look good. You were not just a cousin. As I said, you were my brother. We spent our childhood days in Dada's little house down Sibuli, the 7 of us, Hassani, Jobnel, Herskel. We all called you and Wendell and Quentin the 3 princes because as the elder ones, we got all the chores. But really and truly, you turned out to be a true prince. Handsome, bright, loving, compassionate, and caring. A true marvel. My heart breaks though. Too many cracks, too many losses. But I will miss you always. Goodbye, my love. And take care, Hano. Rest in peace.
Thank you, Abe Richards, for such a moving and touching tribute to Hanif. Thank you. At this time, I would like to call on Lenisha Gregoire. She is the sister-in-law of Hanif. Lenisha Gregoire, make her feel welcome. Hanif's sister-in-law.
Good night, everyone. I'm a big deal. My friends, them a big deal. I'm kind of important, for real. How many of you believe that Hanif was a big deal? Did you believe Hanif was a big deal? Right. Hanif claimed that he was a big deal, and he was a very big deal, for real. I remember when I met my husband, his brother, and I met him, I said, Quentin, Mr. Avaris, and he heard me and he said, how you mean? How you mean I have Vari? I said, well, you have plenty of Vari. He said, well, if I have Vari, but that's me. I said, okay, Hanif. Hanif is my son's godfather. He's Colin's godfather. And Colin loves his uncle Pawe. That's what he calls him. He loves his uncle Pawe. And his uncle Pawe loves him. Well, loved him also. And they had a unique relationship. They had a good bond, and sometimes Colin reminds me of him. Because Hanif would, wherever Hanif went, Hanif made sure everybody knew he was there. And Colin is like that. Colin goes to school, everybody knows Colin has arrived. And Hanif had that personality, and I say, boy, Hanif may be gone, but I see Hanif right there in front of me, sometimes. During COVID, we had this Sundays get-together family thing. And sometimes, as a family, we used to get contrary because Hanif always have his phone outside, taking photos and videos and posting. And after a while, one day he decided he wasn't going to do it because we're giving him too much pressure. And he didn't do it, and he was like, Hanif, for the phone now, take the photos now. Because we came to love and appreciate his love for showing positivity, good vibes, good relationships, and good food on social media. So we came to appreciate it, and some people were looking forward towards his post. On the football field, what I remember about Hanif the most was his kick. Mr. had a strong kick. Messier, he could kick hard. The man kicked the ball one time out of the park in Newtown, the Savannah in Newtown, and I was like, boy, where that ball go now? So he was very strong, and he had a big personality. Somebody with a big personality, Hanif is the definition. You know, people say, oh, if you look for, let us say, if you look for somebody that is brilliant, you know, you look for that person. Well, if you look for someone with big personality, you look for Hanif. He had love. He had a lot of love. He could converse with anyone affluent, and the man on the side of the road, they were his partners. He would tag them, he could talk to them, he could talk down, he could talk up. He was that kind of personality. And he was to me like my younger brother. He reminded me of my younger brother, who is about his age. I think they have the kind of the same vibe, although my brother's on the quiet side, but he always reminded me of him, and I loved him a lot. Maybe because sometimes you are not the direct person with them, and I don't know if your feelings sometimes get overlooked, but I loved him a lot, and we conversed whenever we met, whenever we came home, we talked, and although he had all this love, he had all this vibe, I remember sometimes when he shared, he had pain, he had heartbreak, he had things in his heart that he didn't like, that was frustrating to him, that was depressing to him, and I don't think he shared it with many people, but it was part of him. It was, he got heartbroken, he got disappointed in people because they didn't share love, they didn't want to be united, they didn't want to be together, and that was his most disappointment in his friends and his people that are deceiving. And one time, well, just after he got, his news about him, he sat on the couch. I said, I know, what are you doing now? He tell me, I'll bounce back. And he always bounced back from his disappointment. He used his positivity to push him, to drive him forward. And I love that about him. I really love that about him. One of my most memorable things I can remember about him was that he called me one day and asked me to come over. It was an emergency. So I left and I ran quickly and checking what emergency Hanif could have. Hanif asked me to tie his tie. I was like, what? You want me to tie your tie for you? He told me yes. I said, Hanif, you got that tie? He said, well, I said, may I go here? And I was like, you serious? I went to DGS, so I learned to tie a tie early, and I couldn't fathom how a big man like that couldn't tie his tie. And then he was like, okay, show me how. And I taught him how to tie the tie. He never called me after that, though, because I think he learned how to tie his tie. So we had some good laughs, good hugs. Yeah, boy, and if you could hug somebody, give you a good, nice hug and make you feel as if you are a big deal just like him. So he's a big deal, and his friends them, his family them, is a big deal just like him. That was our thing, he and we used to bicker over Man U and Chelsea. I'm a Chelsea supporter, he's a Man U fan. And every time I want to get him flustered and irritated, I used to say, boy, look how stupid him, boy, look how stupid him. And who you can say that? He used to get on with me. And I was just saying it just to see his reaction. But I could never understand why he supported Italy. I just couldn't understand. People support France, people support Brazil, and he was stuck on supporting Italy as a team. And I just couldn't understand it. And I asked him about it, and he told me, well, that is who he's supporting. People support who they want, that is who he's supporting. And he was very strong-willed, as I said, in his in his opinions to a point. Sometimes when he realized he was wrong, he would give up. But he was strong-willed in his opinion. He stood by what he believed, what he thought, and he stood by his opinion. And that's sometimes, though, very irritating. So very irritating. You're like, you cannot think about Hanif. How you can think that, no? But that's what I think. However, it was who he was. That is him. That is his thoughts. That is what he believed in. The Bible says there's a time for everything. At this time, to me, it's a time to mourn. And there will be the time for gladness, the time where we can look back and laugh. I will miss him a lot, especially when we gather as a family. He always had his opinions. He had thought-provoking questions and ideas. And I will definitely, I know not just me, but as a family, we will miss that a lot. We'll miss his presence, his big personality. And we will also miss his flashy dressing. He liked to dress flashy with his kind of a shirt. I like, honey, are you comfortable wearing that kind of pink thing on you? I just couldn't understand some of his dressing, but that was him. And I appreciated him for who he was. I respected him for who he was. And I will miss him as his only sister, officially. I don't know what Nicole there and Avia, but legally, I will be, as his only sister, I will miss him. I do love him and will continue to love him. And I will continue watching Colin to see if he grows up to be anything like that. So let us, in all what we do, let us remember to love, be in unity with each other, be together with each other, and keep our families close, keep our family unit close, keep each other close, because that is what is important. Love God, put God first in everything, put him first, love him, love our families, and our lives will be rewarded. And if we love you, and we will see you. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that, Lanisha Gregoire. And based on your story, I could tell that you were a loving nag to Hanif. Every chance you got, you would, nag him. I'm sure it's out of love, all love. Thank you so much for that. I would like to call on a counselor, Ketra Polido, to share with us a story, how she remembers Hanif, as we continue to pay tribute to a big deal, a loving individual, Hanif O. Gregoire. Make her feel welcome. Good evening to you. Ah, that's you. Nice. Welcome, Ketra.
I'm sorry. All right. I'm good. Okay, good evening, everybody.
Sorry, Ketra. We have to adjust the mic.
First, I want to thank everybody for gathering here this evening to honor the memory of Hanif Gregoire. Your presence here speaks volume about the profound impact he had on all of us and our community. On behalf of Point Michelle Village Council, I extend our deepest condolences to Hanif's family and friends during this difficult time. We are all deeply saddened by his loss. Tonight, we pay tribute to a remarkable young man. In this moment of reflection, we may not only mourn Hanif, but also celebrate his significant mark he left on our lives. Let us support one another as we remember Hanif's exceptional spirit, whether as a friend, a teammate, or a neighbor. His legacy lives on in each of us. Together, we can keep his memory alive and allow the joy he brought to inspire us all. Hanif's unwavering dedication and leadership made a real difference. His passion for uplifting others and his contribution to our village will be cherished for years to come. We are truly grateful for all he did. He was our very own, a beloved member of Point Michel. His love for football united us all, and his spirit, both on and off the field, created lasting bond. As we honor him this evening, let's reflect on the joy he brought into our lives. Though he may no longer be with us physically, his legacy will continue to echo in our hearts. To Hanif's family and friends, please know that we stand with you in your grief. Alongside our heartfelt sympathy, we have prepared a sympathy card for you, hoping it brings some comfort and support. Grief is not a journey best not faced alone. Together, let us find strength in one another and keep Hanif's memory alive in everything we do. Thank you for being here this evening to honor the life of Hanif Gregoire.
Thank you, Ketra Polido, a councillor of the Point Michel Village Council. And Hanif did not only touch the lives of, Dominicans, but he touched the lives of his friends and past schoolmates all over the region. We have friends from Barbados here with us who knew Hanif very well. I would like to invite the friends from Barbados on the program. It's entitled Bajan Friends from UWI, University of the West Indies in Trinidad, right? Let's welcome them to the podium while they share their memory and pay tribute to Hanif as a friend. Good evening.
Good evening to all. I would like to extend firstly my deepest condolences to Mommy and Daddy, the friends and the family, and everyone that is here tonight that come up to represent Hanif. Now, all of you all know Hanif as Hanif, but we from the University of West Indies, Canada Hall, we know Hanif as Matix. And if Hanif were to introduce me to you all, he would introduce me not as Romel Grosvenor, but as KY. He would introduce Jamal. Unfortunately, I cannot call your name here today at this forum. He would introduce MJ. He would also introduce Nati, who you all know as Ali Kafi, and he would also introduce Pudding. Every morning after Matix recognized that my dad was from Dominica, he said, "Oh, you know Habejan? You were Dominican. All right, no problem. You will not be wearing slippers to class anymore." And we fought every morning about my wearing of slippers to class, but I made sure tonight to wear my shoes and representing Matix here tonight. Matix, I listened to everybody speak about Matix, and I recognize that he brought his personality to university, he brought his personality to Trinidad, he brought his personality to our study room. I remember vividly, I was responsible for teaching tea distribution and statistics. And the way how we would organize our study room is that each person would be responsible for teaching a specific topic with a specific aim to not leave any man behind. And we start at 8:30 in the night, and we would normally go straight through to 9 a.m. when the exam is called the next day. At 5 o'clock, we would decide, okay, it's time to recap. And the first man would go up on the drawing board, and we would go over what we would have taught the entire night to each other to ensure that none of us would fail any of the exams. And I went up on the board, and I drew 2 brackets, and I could not remember anything else after that. And I would have taught that topic to my brothers at 9 o'clock that night. I would have taught that topic, and when it was time to do it again at 5 o'clock, Mattis recognized that something is wrong, And Matic said, ho, 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 we're taking a break. We're taking a break. He said, we went upstairs. He said, lie down for 15 minutes, get up, eat cornflakes, coffee, and we're going at it again. And I can say proudly today that I went into that exam after that, and I would have gotten a B. And that was because of the personality that Matix brought to Trinidad, the personality that each and every person stood up here tonight and confessed that that was him when he lived. As I make this speech, I remember when I would have gotten the news that Matix was sick. We were having a drink at the Cigar Field Sobers Gymnasium in Barbados. And when I got the news, my mouth gave rum in my cup immediately tasted bad. And I told everybody I gotta go home. And the reason for that is I lived next to Matix for an entire year. I heard everything about Dominica. I heard about the Cicero Parrot. I heard about the hills of Dominica. I heard I need to come back home and see my family. I heard I need to come back home and get into politics. And he always wanted to get into politics. And it was a challenge. It was a challenge. Talking to my brother, knowing that he is facing an extreme challenge. And in talking to him, he spoke as if nothing was wrong. Which to me identified the type of person that he was. He was still encouraging to those that he recognized had a long future, a long journey ahead. And I remember we spoke about the way in which he wanted to impact the youth. And he said one of the avenues that he recognized that he would be able to do so through was joining the youth parliament. And I commended him on that. But all in all, standing here now, I recognize that when talking about loved ones, it can be difficult. It can be difficult to put out a speech in a very structured manner. And I commend everyone that stood here tonight and expressed themselves about Matix. I commend everyone that stood here tonight and composed themselves. I was looking at Dads as Dads made his speech, and I recognized that Dads was using this platform, using your ears to demonstrate how he felt about Matix, his love for his son, and that everyone was here committed tonight to listen and celebrate Matix. And with that, I want us to end my speech, conclude my speech with a thunderous applause in celebration of Hank Gregoire. I thank you, and may he rest in peace, and I will leave you with one of his statements that he liked to tell us. Peace and love, my brother.
Thank you, Hanif's Bajan friend. Thank you so much. We now call on his Jamaican friend. Because we're about to open up the floor for other people to come in to share their stories. And the poem is entitled The Dash Poem. by Linda Ellis. I'm sure you have heard that poem before. And it reads, I read of a man who stood to speak at the funeral of a friend. He referred to the dates on her tombstone from the beginning to the end. He noted that first came the date of her birth and spoke of the following dates with tears. But he said what mattered most of all was the dash between those years. For that dash represents all the time that she spent alive on earth, and how and now only those who loved her know what that little line is worth. For it matters not how much we own, the cars, the house, the cash. What matters is how we live and love, and how we spend our dash. Are there things you'd like to change? For you never know how much time is left. That can still be rearranged. If we could just slow down enough to consider what's true and real, and always try to understand the way other people feel, and be less quick to anger, and show appreciation more, and love the people in our lives like we've never loved before. If we treat others with respect and more often wear a smile, remembering that this special dash might only last a little while. So when your eulogy is being read with your life's actions to rehash, would you be proud of the things they say about how you spent your dash? Again, by Linda Ellis, and this was sent to me to read on behalf of the friend of Hanif. So thank you again, and we move on. We now open up the, I was about to say line, sorry. I'm not on the radio. Open up the floor for anyone who would like to share their stories or memories of Hanif. I know we have representatives from the Dutch United Football Club. Do we have anybody here from Dutch United? No? What about the Rotary Club? He was also a member of the Rotary Club. No one? All right, so the floor is open. Anyone else who wants to share a story, pay tribute to Hanif's memory. All right, we have someone coming up. Make him feel welcome. And by the way he walks, he looks like a footballer. Am I correct? Something so, that's what he said. Welcome. Your name, sir?
Good night, everybody. I would really like to call on the players of the Dutch United team, those that were there when I wasn't there. I heard that Dutch United were around for almost 50 years. So those that were there around that time, I would like them to, even if we're not going to see anything, but just come as one for everybody to see the team. Don't be shy. I wasn't shy, but don't be shy. Don't be shy, man, fellas. Everybody knows these scores we used to take 17, 18, 19, 20. But we used to take it together. Okay, that is to me Hanif's second family. Hanif had his family, as we all know, but that is who Hanif fought most of his battles with, most of his drinks, his laughter, his whatever we want to call it, is who we used to share it with. And one of my best memories of Hanif, maybe it might be the most, I'm trying to find a word, but anyways, there was a special game, maybe one of our hardest, that is in the season we actually won the trophy in Newtown. there was a game we played against the Buffet State team, and our natural goalkeeper, he was in a wrong. And he said to me, Bow, you're the only one I can see that can go in the goal and hold. And the only thing I didn't do was shit on myself. And Hanif was the one that said, Bow, you have a solid defense and a solid team that will stand behind you. And that was what happened. Although the scoreline was 2-0 at 80 minutes and I got a little injured, and then the team, Buffet State, came back and won 3-2, which was very embarrassing, but still. Hanif, in all honesty, was revolutionary. He was a captain. He was what everybody would want to have in a leader, not only in football, but like his colleague said, in his studies and whatever else. Hanif was a real and true leader. And to be honest, like his father said, nobody expected or would have even thought that that would have happened to Hanif, because of how strong Hanif was in both in his body physically and in his words. Nobody would think that would happen to Hanif. And we just want to say tonight, as the second family, God bless you, Hanif. You know we have an angel in heaven, somebody that would watch upon us in everything we do, everything we drink, everything we eat, in our football, everything. And I don't want to get emotional because my crying may be looking ugly. But still, thank you for everybody that turned out on behalf of the family, the second family, and everybody in New Orleans around the world. Thank you very much.
As everybody said, Hanif formed the Dutch United Football Club, and his mother was the assistant manager, and I was the manager. Throughout the whole life of Dutch United, assistant manager and manager. And as he said, we used to get 10 love, 11, 12 love at the beginning, and at the end, we paid them back. You see, if Hanif was there, they would talk, you know. Anyway, thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Joachim Joseph, aka Bao, and I got that, and the friends from the Dutch United Sports Club. Thank you so much. Now, feast your eyes on the screen to my right and your left. We are about to show a few tribute videos from friends around the world who couldn't make it for today's event. So, technician or engineer, take it away.
Hi everyone, I'm Chelsea. I'm one of Hanif's friends from Jamaica. I met Hanif in 2018, so to say that I've known him for long wouldn't be the case, but you know, it definitely felt that way because we were able to build a very deep and meaningful friendship and have deep conversations that, you know, I'll always hold very close to my heart. Hanif, well, I've never met someone like him. He was always so positive and had so much grace, especially going through the journey and the fight that he did. And I think that just speaks volumes to the type of person that he was. And with that, you know, we are we should be honored to have known him and to have been a part of his life and his journey. You know, the fact that Hanif even considered me a close friend is something that helps fill the void that I have in my heart. I will truly miss him. You know, I want to send a lot of love and prayer to all of you, his friends and his family. You know, hold on to those memories that we've shared with him. Again, it's really an honor to have known him. So, sending a lot of love to you guys.
Yeah, Mati. Yo. William. One shine there. Yeah. Yo, William. Hold on. Yeah, you know. Out here, we got sort out some real food. We're not eating no crap right now. Some real shit. Yep. We sort out some food, you know.
You want to sit right here?
Streets. In the streets. Yeah, NYC. In the fucking streets, man. Yeah. In the fucking place right now. Yeah? In the blood club. Oh, I was followed by fucking Julian. Yeah. Oh, fucking son of block the video. Yeah! Fucking son of block the fucking video. Yeah.
Hanif the Great.
Put your hand on that person. Put somebody on here. Put somebody on here. And I want the biggest man for sunny side up. Let go in last year. You want to jump back? Let me go.
Don't know it's time for a video. Matix, you know what time it is, you know? Matix and wifey, big up.
Yeah. Yeah, you cussing? I go show you. You know it is. We're in the city. Yeah. Halloween.
I could say a million things about you today, Hanif. A million things. I could say a million and one things. But I could say your definition of love, your definition of friendship, your definition of a person I could have depended on. And you are my baby daddy. But Hanif, I will miss you. Me and Julie actually will miss you. My mother, my brother, my extended friends and family. You are my boy. I have so much I want to say, but I am too emotional. But I will tell you this. Thank you. Thank you for being there for me. Thank you for being here for Julia. Thank you for being here for my family. You will be missed. You will always be loved. And I know you're looking down and telling me, don't cry. Don't do this just more. We're not doing this. Pala. However, I will miss you. I love you. I know the angels has already led you home. And may your soul forever rest in peace.
Thank you, engineer, for that. We take a break from the videos for a little while. And from what we just saw, it told a very interesting story about Hanif.
the way he celebrated life, his connections with friends all over the world. The floor is still open, so we invite anyone who wants to share stories or memories of Hanif. All right, anybody else wants to share? All right, so we see someone coming up. Make him feel welcome. Yes, sir.
Good night, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Good night. Mrs. Gregoire and Mr. Gregoire, deepest sympathy for you all and your family. I would say I know Hanif. Not that we was together, but I will explain something that happened in a football match in Newtown when he was playing for Point Michel. Because you know I always travel with Point Michel team. But at that time he was playing for Point Michel. But Hanif made a little error at the back of the defender. He was a defender and make a little error. And then the other partner get the ball at double and scored the goal. But the guy Point Michel start to get on Hanif, make noise. But I tell you, Hanif is a very cool man. That man is disciplined. He don't like a trouble. He don't like problem. He never answer. On my own, I check behind them fellas. I say, by behave yourself. Big football errors have been making. A little goal that score all the man back. And he's not responding, you know. And I have to respond back on them. That man, he's a good man. And he will be missed. And I say that the Lord knows best. And Hanif will remember the Lord have him already. As this father said. Hanif was a very good man. And he was disciplined and very nice. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. I was expecting the speech to be a little longer because it was very interesting. But thank you so much for that. We now go back to the screen for more of the tribute videos.
I think this may be the 6th time I'm trying to make this video. And to be honest, I really just want to say I appreciate you, brother. Because you came into my life from the onset, like I knew you from high school, everything. But when you really came into my life is after when I returned back to Dominica. And then we reconnected, bro. You embraced me with open arms, and like everything was just love. And I feel at that time that is something that I was lacking. It's just somebody who accepts you. And you were that guy. You were that guy that used to see the best in people. You would see the potential. Like, we would sit down and reason and talk about different things. And it's all love, but it's all stuff. He was a stubborn person. Alright. Or maybe I was the stubborn one. But anyways, notwithstanding, the conversations were always in the right direction. Like, I've never come across somebody who's positive, like just, you ever see somebody who's just a magnet who can just, you know, like every man used to call me and say, hey bro, come and check me, boom. When I come, my dude have a whole group of people there just with his deep voice. And he's just talking around like just good energy, you know? And that is something like we do not come across very often. Like, you were an angel on earth, for real. A true angel on earth, a real friend. We don't come across these very often. Like, for you, bro, it's nothing but love. Nothing but love. Like, I honestly wish in some capacity I could have been there more. I think the fact that, you know, like, the fact that you were just so strong. Like, I honestly just had, without a without an ounce of doubt that you were gonna come back. To be honest, like the way that we always used to be like discussing about future and motivation and movements and everything, like, to be honest, while you were gone, I honestly said, like, okay, you know what, let me grind down and do my stuff. My guy handling the stuff. When he come back, he'll handle his things, and then if I have a better platform, then I can assist him to come back on his situation better. And then, you know, like, I was honestly waiting for you to come back for us to, like, discuss stories and different things. And different plans. I know where you're gone. You're not far. You'll always be with me, bro. You'll always be with all of us, right? Like, I will cherish all moments, always. To be honest, you're always in my mind. You will always be in my heart. And although the expectation of life has changed, I know that my journey in life will always be with you at my side, whether in this dimension or the next. And all I can say, bro, is thank you. Really, thank you. Thank you for accepting me. And I think that is a quality that you have that is very rare in people. Is that you can see somebody accept them and then boost them to be better. And that's where you were strong. That's where you were strong. You used to just bring light. Any room, anywhere. Man, I mean, I'll love you forever. I will miss you forever. So I'll say, we all are better for having known you, bro. I wish that anybody who has encountered your good soul can cherish and appreciate and absorb your goodness and the messages that you were trying to give us. And I know that I am better. I am better for sure for having known you. So in this, we will always celebrate your life and your memory. And we will feel you close when the wind blows. And we will see your smile when the sun shines. And His blessings and love only. I will see you again one day, my brother. Love always.
Yeah, man.
Thank you. Yes, some real genuine and capturing the emotional side of how Hanif touched the people around him. We open up the floor once more for anyone who wants to come in or come to the podium to share memories and reflect on the life of Hanif. So, make us feel welcome. Is someone coming up to? Oh. Okay, make us feel welcome.
Good night, everybody. Han was my cousin, but we always up together like brothers and sisters in Caroline Bless house. And she used to tell us that family who prays always stays together. And read Psalm 23, Psalm 19, and Psalm 21. The family who prays enter, my dear faithful servant, the family who prays never shall part, never shall part. The family who prays shall never be parted. God is good. Rest in peace, my dear cousin. You are in a better place right now. You're angel with God. And Auntie JJ, we love you so much. Take care, Hano. I'll miss you. Love you all. Thank you very much.
Well done, well done. And she sang beautifully, right? Yes, make her feel happy about that, and let's comfort her in this time of grief. What's that? Okay. All right, anybody else wants to come forward to share stories or remember Hanif? All right. All right, I see my very good friend coming up here. Can you climb? Okay, great. Make her feel welcome, my dear. Evening.
Good evening, everybody. Sometimes you have to be obedient. And sitting there, my son calls me from the United States and he said, Mother, you have to represent. So on behalf of Johan, Jeffrey, Diane, Jeff, I would like to extend my sympathies to the family of Hanif, especially Shamin and Felix and Wendell, Quentin, his wife, his girlfriend, our fiance, and everybody. But Hano was our boy, and plenty of us who comes from Castle Comfort will know that. When the party was at home, Hanif was the life of the party. And yesterday, Johan called me and he said, Mother, you have to help me prepare a tribute. And in preparing that tribute, when I was reading through it, my eyes was filled again. So forever, Hanif will always be there, etched in our memories. He's gone, but he will not be forgotten. And I just want to say, family, hold strong. We all go through some trauma at some time. We all go through these disappointing times. But knowing God, you know who He is. When He does something, He does it well. And it was an angel to us in Castle Comfort. And I hope even my dear children will emulate what Hanif stood for. Positivity, always a warm smile, and again, a nice hug. So when I used to walk down, I'm not exercising, and if I was exercising like Hanif, I would be disappointed in even myself because to see how Hanif went. But when he's passing at mornings, he comes through my gate, and he peeps. And I get my call, my hug at sometimes, but he would always call, no. And I know Hannah was passing. So, to everybody, it's a sad time for us. But all I can say, Hanif, rest in peace.
Thank you for that. We continue with the video tributes on the screen to your left.
It is an honor to be given the opportunity to salute a warrior, a soldier on the front lines in the fight of life, a free spirit, an eternal optimist, indeed a beautiful soul. From 4 months of life given at his diagnosis to 2 years and more at the time of his passing, Hanif moved from acceptance of his medical condition to compliance with his treatment regime, to meeting and surpassing expectations, overcoming challenges, and achieving milestones even when none was set. Over the last year of his journey, I watched him get knocked down after every cycle of treatment and pick himself up again, many times before the immediate feeling of nausea and sickness began dissipating. I listened to him reminisce on his past experiences, joys and challenges, seeing every setback a stepping stone through victory and triumph, whether small or enormous. I listened to him speak with unwavering hope of his future plans to get married to his beautiful, committed, devoted Janelle, have a home, family, and a new perspective on life, appreciating the little things that were often overlooked or trivialized in the bigger landscape of life. I never heard a complaint about his illness, the hard knock that life had doled out to him. Where he was impatient and intolerant was with those who did not appear to recognize the value of the gifts of good health, good family, and a community of people who unhesitatingly jumped in and lent their hearts and voices in prayer, as well as gave of their time, their talents, and their gifts. Many of us were disappointed when seemingly all Hanif's efforts and energies in fighting that dreaded disease culminated in unspeakable grief and pain. However, I am thankful that while the grief will remain for a longer spell, the disappointment and doubt was indeed temporary. We are reminded that God stands on his promises. He heals the brokenhearted and binds up their wounds. We prayed for and believed for healing on this side of eternity. It did not happen the way we anticipated, but God did give Hanif the healing prayed for, the deliverance from pain and suffering. The decision for all of us now is to live out Hanif's legacy of unconditional love, patience, and kindness in the way that we see best. My prayer for his parents, siblings, and extended family is that you find peace, comfort, and strength, knowing that you did everything humanly possible to support Hanif through this journey. To his friends, co-workers, soccer colleagues, and all others like myself, be encouraged that we had the opportunity to fly with an angel before he was bestowed the heavenly halo that crowns his head now. Janelle, knowing the love that you both shared, there may be times that you wake up in the morning and feel that you cannot find the strength to get up and face the day. In those moments, remember that your Heavenly Father, the one who holds all things in the palm of his hand, loves you and has a plan for your life. May you find comfort, peace, strength, and encouragement as you continue your journey of life without Hanif, but with our compassionate Lord at your side.
God knows, never in a million years I ever think I have to do this, but seems today I have to. Boy, when that cold breeze blow, trust me, it really blow cold. Make you really reality check. Boy, I'm gonna miss you. Can't believe I'm not gonna see you again. Like I was waiting for us to see you again because I felt we need to talk. But seems we never gonna get that chance to talk. I just hope you know how much I love you, bro. Like I would die for you, like God knows I would ride for you. I would always have your back. I guess space and time create distance, and that's something we have to live with. But I know when I see you again, we're gonna be smiling from a distance, and it's just a sad, sad feeling, because I really thought we'd go all together on a rocking chair talking about the past, but God had a better plan for you. I know this world is cold for a lot of suffering and a lot of pain, and I just hope you're in a better place, which I know you're in a better place. Forever be my blood. Remember, from sending school to SMA to Dominica football to touchside football to, bro, so much of my memories, you're a part of it. And I'll never change, yeah? I feel dead inside, but I'm solid, and I really hope God have a better plan for you, my boy. Like, this one hit high. But rest in peace, bro. Rest in peace.
Hello everyone, to the Gregoire family, loved ones, friends, acquaintances, and all those who are mourning at this time. On behalf of Prior Glory Ministries International Global and paramedics of Prior, I extend condolence to Joy and Janelle. You are an exemplary woman, a woman of strength and grace. I pray that in this season you will find peace and comfort, knowing that he's no longer in pain, but he's in a better place. What can I say about this amazing individual that the Lord allowed me to cross paths with Anif? I learned about Anif's condition on my second visit to Dominica while I was on the prayer line praying for the nation. When I learned about his condition, I said to him, no matter the outcome, we will stand with you and we will be there for you. You will not be alone in this. And we have been with him on this journey 2 years. We are heartbroken, but we are rejoicing because Anif knew the Lord. I was privileged to meet Anif in person when I went to New York to visit. I went to where he was at the time, and when I saw him, he was just so full of energy, so full of life. He was just such a pleasant, jovial person. There was never a dull moment around Anif in spite of his sufferings and pain. If you did not know that he was sick, you could not tell that Anif was sick. Anif had one of the most beautiful smiles that literally lit up a room and radiated such warmth when you come in contact with him. One of the things that I admired about this young man was his incredible strength. He had such inner strength in spite of what he was going through. I was privileged to visit the hospital in the latter part of his illness just before he transitioned. I had never taken the subway before. I did not know where I was going because I'm not acquainted to the tri-state area. And the person who I was staying with at the time had to work, so I had nobody to take me there. But I purposed in my heart that I must see him. And so I went on that train not knowing where to go. I remember I was lost, and I said to the Lord, Lord, I gotta see him. I got to see him. And when I arrived at the hospital, walking towards his room, it was a bittersweet moment for me because I felt this deep sorrow on the inside, but yet still, there was just this unexplainable peace. Saw me, walked into that room. He was just so excited. He was like a little child. He was just so peaceful. And he greeted me in my Jamaican patois, my Jamaican Creole. And I was like, Anif, how did you learn to speak like a Jamaican? And he was just there smiling and watching his football. And I remember when I hugged him and I said, Champ, you really look good. Because he was a bit worried about, some weight that he had lost. But in spite of that, he was peaceful. He had high hopes. In spite of the news that was breaking to him, it did not break him. And I said, Anif, you're in a good place because you did not allow what you heard to break you down. And I said, keep being positive. And I remember when I was just leaving that hospital room, and just the joy, when I turned and saw him just looking and smiling, I was like, in spite of it all, he has found peace. And I knew that anything should happen, he was ready. He knew the Lord and he had found peace. And I treasure those moments, those time with him. He was dear to us, the Prior Tower. He was like a part of us. We checked on him very frequent. When he was discharged from the hospital and I was told that there was nothing more the doctors could do for him and they had sent him home, I bless God for Janelle, Joyanne, that she was there with him in his last moments, that he was not physically alone. He had somebody there with him that loved him. And I said to the Lord, I said, Lord, don't allow him to suffer. I would check daily to see how is he doing now that he's at home. And the news would always be the same, that he's in pain. And I remember praying, I said, Lord, if he must go, take him out of this pain. I rather him go when he is contented, when he's at home.
Thank you, Mr. Engineer. As we continue, this tribute vigil is being streamed live by DBS Radio, the nation station, and some of the comments coming from the live, just to go through it. I wish this story ended differently. Love you forever, Tasia Flosak, sending some strength to the family. Sleep in eternal peace, Hanif, such a great soul. Your legacy will live on. Rest in peace, Hanif. Some of the comments coming from the DBS Radio live streaming of this event. The floor is once again open for anyone who wants to come up to share the memory of Hanif. Make him feel welcome. Jean Lapointe, like Hanif? No? James Gregoire. Welcome.
Good evening to all, and good evening to the family. Everyone talks about Hanif the footballer, but I just want to change it around. Hanif the professional. Indeed, I'm James Gregoire. I'm a licensed land surveyor, as Hanif was also a licensed land surveyor, and we worked together for a short while as surveyors until he came back, and we worked together in the Ministry of Public Works. I being the chief surveyor and he being the projects officer at that time. And based on all what has been said before, I must say that Hanif was a true family man. He loved his family. He was one who was full with faith and trust in God. Early this morning after 2, so I was going through my phones in our last set of messages we had to each other, to communicate with each other. And Hanif's last set of words to me was, God is faithful, he does not fail. Because trust God, God will see us through. And I'm here as a surveyor, not as a preacher. You know, and I just want to thank God for him. He has really been a good friend, a good family member, a good cousin who has impacted even the surveyors. And his last workplace, which I work at the Ministry of Public Works, as he worked as a projects officer. And Hanif was a true professional. Hanif did not mix matters. When we discussed government work and capital projects, he stuck to his task. And indeed, during that time, we drew closer to each other. And from here, I see Hanif was a family man. If my office was away from the ministry, and whenever we have heads meeting or technical meeting, Hanif would put his phone on a chair next to him and say that is for cousin when he comes. So, all in all, it's a serious situation, it's a sad situation, but his words to me was, cause God is faithful. The fully family, immediate family, the father and the mother, brothers and sisters, we just pray that God can continue to comfort each and every one of you, comfort each and every one of us. And let us remember Hanif, for we have good memories of Hanif. I remember when Hanif went to see his first Manchester game. The Monday, Hanif called me and said, cause, guess what? I said, what? Boy, I go and see Manchester played their first game at the stadium. And that was an amazing feeling. And you know, Hanif was excited about his football, his sports, and he was very dynamic in many situations. Let his memory, let us, through us, let his memories live on, and we pray that God continue to bless the family members, his friends, and the communities. Amen.
Amen, Mr. Gregoire. Anybody else wants to come up? Okay. I see my friend Joe. Okay. Okay, Mokaveti come, but welcome to the podium. Who connaît tout le monde? You know, that's your family? Okay. Welcome to the podium.
Thank you. Good evening to everyone. It's a pleasure to be here tonight on a very sad note. Hanif, I don't even know where to start, but when Hanif actually met me as his cousin, Hanif and I are two brothers' grandchildren. So we were very close when we were introduced. The day that Hanif gave me that first hug, I could actually felt love in this hug. The laugh that he have, and the way he spoke, it was just enlightened to me. I still cannot believe Hanif is gone, because for me, I expect Hanif to come back and to spend his honeymoon at Jungle Bay. That was our last conversation. But God had a better place for Hanif. I think God wanted an extra angel in his midst. And I will just remember, he gave me some good advice. Although he was much younger than I was, but he always tell me, cause you know what, you always go out to help persons for the better. And I believe in that because that's the person that I am. Whatever I do, you know, you do it in a positive mind. You do it for positivity, sorry. Positivity. And that was Hanif. He had lovely spots. And I remember when Hanif returned from his first, or 2 years after he went to the US and he came back, he was bright, he was so energetic that for me, I thought it was over. But God had a better place. And I just want us to just try to live the life that Hanif lived. Most of us know in the sports, in community development, in community spirit. That is what Hanif wants to be. Just to be positive and to make a positive contribution to the community, to sports, to the youth. So I just take a page in Hanif's life. Like I say, he's much younger than I am, but this is what I live to be. And I just want to remember Hanif with the big hug that he normally gives and the laughter that he have. Thank you.
Thank you, Joanna, and you yourself, you know, always positive. All right, we go back to the video tributes at this time.
Pictures in the text. KFC, another building. Yeah, you big up yourself. You still in the group, obviously. Shell shot in the building. Well reach, well reach.
Thank you so much, and let's give a round of applause to those who shared their videos. Memory of Hanif. You could see how well he lived life. He enjoyed life and always brought his light to those who lived, in his midst. Anybody else wants to share? Because the floor is still open, we will give a few more minutes to anyone who wants to come up to share their stories about Hanif. Anybody else? Okay, I was told that we are right on time. We're flowing well. Coming to the end of this tribute gathering in the name or memory of Hanif O. Gregoire. So that's it. Ambassador Gregoire? Okay. So I will allow Ambassador Gregoire to provide his closing remarks, if he will do that. Yes, sir. All right.
Before I forget, I would like to thank this beautiful young lady for gracing us with her presence and being such a good host. So she knows everything about Hanif now. Okay, so I think there are a lot of candles around. I'm not sure where they are, but I think some people want to light their candles. I would encourage them to light the candles now. I don't have matches myself, but so let's light the candles if we have any. I saw some, by the lights over there. But we must bring that to a close at this point in time. Let me thank everybody who came here this evening to be part of it. I'm sure Hanif is watching, and I'm sure he approves what he saw there this evening. Let us all go home safely. Those of us who have to drive, those of us who have to take flights tomorrow, let us get home safely. And all in all, it was a very good experience, and a short life, a beautiful life. Let us cherish it. Let us remember Hanif for all the positive things that he did in his short life. If he could do so much in 36 years, there's much more we can do, those of us who've been there a long time. And as I said before, all of us can play a part to make the world a better place than it is at this point in time. So, the media houses, thank you very much for your patience. We had, as usual, technical difficulties. We overcame all the problems, and we had a beautiful evening. So you can continue with promoting Hanif in whatever way you can. You have a lot of information that you can use. It's for free. You can use it. I'm giving you permission to use information that you have to the glory of Hanif and to the glory of God. Thank you very much.
This was a candlelight vigil and tribute gathering for Hank Gregoire. This live was brought to you by Emonews. We thank you for joining us tonight.